Welcome to Pigeon Healthy. Today we're going to talk about something that affects every single pigeon keeper, regardless of what type of birds you have. Whether you keep racing pigeons, show pigeons, fancy breeds, tumblers, homers, or just backyard birds for pleasure, there's one thing all these birds have in common: feathers. And the quality of those feathers matters tremendously. Think about it. Feathers are everything to a bird. They enable flight, which is fundamental to what makes a bird a bird. They provide insulation, keeping birds warm in cold weather, and helping regulate temperature in hot weather. They provide waterproofing, shedding rain and moisture. They're essential for mating displays and social communication. For racing pigeons, feather quality directly affects aerodynamics and flight performance. For show pigeons, feather quality is often the primary judging criterion. For all pigeons, healthy feathers are an indicator of overall health. Now, if you've been keeping pigeons for any length of time, you've probably noticed variations in feather quality. Sometimes your birds have absolutely gorgeous plumage, shiny, smooth, strong feathers with vibrant colors. Other times, feathers look dull, rough, maybe broken or frayed at the edges. You might see stress bars, which are those horizontal lines across feathers that indicate the bird was stressed or malnourished when that part of the feather was growing. You might notice slow molting, where birds seem to take forever to replace their feathers. You might see excessive feather breakage, particularly in wing and tail feathers. When pigeon keepers notice poor feather quality, they typically look for causes. Is it a disease? Is it parasites? Is it something wrong with the basic diet? Sometimes it is one of those things. Internal parasites can definitely affect feather quality by robbing nutrients. Certain diseases affect plumage. A diet deficient in basic protein or essential vitamins will show up in the feathers. But often the birds are healthy. The basic diet is adequate. Parasites are under control, and yet the feathers still aren't what they should be. This is when people start looking at supplements. The market is full of feather supplements, coat conditioners, plumage enhancers, most of which are synthetic vitamin and mineral mixes or oils. Some work to varying degrees, some are overpriced marketing, and many pigeon keepers would prefer a natural approach. This is where today's topic comes in. I'm going to introduce you to a single seed, something simple, natural, and inexpensive that can dramatically improve feather quality in pigeons. It's not exotic, it's not expensive, it's not complicated to use. It's flaxseed, also called linseed. The botanical name is Linum usitatissimum, and this small, humble seed is one of the most powerful natural tools you can use to improve feather strength, shine, and overall condition. Now, before anyone dismisses this as too simple or thinks I'm exaggerating, let me explain exactly why flaxseed is so effective for feather health, what the science says, how to use it properly, and what realistic results you can expect. We're going to go deep into this topic because understanding why something works helps you use it more effectively. Let's start with feather structure and what feathers actually need to be healthy. Feathers are made primarily of a protein called keratin. This is the same protein that makes up your hair and fingernails, bird beaks and claws, and reptile scales. Keratin is a structural protein, meaning its job is to provide strength and structure. The quality of keratin determines the quality of the feather. Strong, well-formed keratin creates strong, resilient feathers. Weak or poorly formed keratin creates brittle, dull, easily damaged feathers. To produce high-quality keratin, the bird's body needs several things. First, adequate high-quality protein. Keratin is made of amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins. If protein intake is insufficient, or if the protein is low quality and lacking certain essential amino acids, keratin production suffers. Second, specific vitamins, particularly B vitamins, vitamin A, and vitamin D. These vitamins are involved in the metabolic processes that produce keratin. Third, specific minerals, including sulfur, zinc, and selenium. Sulfur is actually a component of keratin itself. The sulfur bonds between protein molecules are what give keratin its strength. Fourth, and this is where flaxseed becomes particularly important: essential fatty acids. Essential fatty acids, specifically omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, are called essential because the body cannot produce them. They must come from the diet. These fatty acids are crucial for multiple aspects of health, including cell membrane structure, inflammation control, immune function, and skin and feather health. For feathers specifically, essential fatty acids are incorporated into the cell membranes of the cells that produce keratin. They also help maintain the flexibility and moisture content of feathers, preventing brittleness. They reduce inflammation in the skin and feather follicles, allowing better feather growth. They support the oil glands that pigeons use to preen their feathers, improving waterproofing and shine. Here's the problem. Most standard pigeon diets based primarily on grains and seeds like corn, wheat, peas, and beans are relatively low in omega-3 fatty acids. They contain omega-6 fatty acids, but the ratio is often heavily skewed toward omega-6. The ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is somewhere around 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. In typical pigeon diets, this ratio can be 10-1 or even 20-1. This imbalance contributes to inflammation and doesn't provide adequate omega-3 for optimal feather production. This is where flaxseed becomes valuable. Flaxseed is one of the richest plant-based sources of alpha-linolenic acid, which is an omega-3 fatty acid. Flaxseed is approximately 40% oil by weight, and of that oil, about 50 to 60% is omega-3 fatty acid. This is an extraordinarily high concentration. For comparison, most other seeds and grains contain less than 5% omega-3, and many contain almost none. Flaxseed also contains a good amount of high-quality protein, about 20% by weight, and this protein is rich in amino acids that are important for keratin production. Additionally, flaxseed contains compounds called lignans, which have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties that support overall health. So when you add flaxseed to a pigeon's diet, you're providing concentrated omega-3 fatty acids that the bird's body uses to build stronger, more flexible feathers, improve skin health and oil gland function, reduce inflammation in feather follicles allowing better growth, and support overall metabolic health. The protein in flaxseed provides additional amino acids for keratin synthesis. The lignans provide antioxidant support, and the result, with consistent use, is noticeably improved feather quality. Now, I want to be very clear about expectations. Flaxseed is not going to repair damaged feathers that are already grown. Once a feather is fully grown and damaged, it stays damaged until it's molted out and replaced. What flaxseed does is improve the quality of new feathers as they grow. This means you'll see results during molting, when old feathers are being replaced with new ones, or in young birds whose feathers are still developing. If you start giving flaxseed to an adult bird outside of molting season with fully grown feathers, you won't see dramatic change until the next molt. But when you use flaxseed during molting, or give it to young birds during development, or use it year-round so it's already in the system when molt begins, that's when you see real improvement. Let me describe what improved feather quality actually looks like so you know what to watch for. First, shine and luster. Healthy feathers have a glossy appearance. Light reflects off them smoothly. This shine comes from the microscopic structure of the feather being smooth and intact, and from the preening oils being evenly distributed. Birds on adequate omega-3 have noticeably shinier feathers. Second, strength and flexibility. Healthy feathers are strong but have some flexibility. They don't break easily when bent. Feathers deficient in omega-3 tend to be more brittle and snap more easily. Third, smooth structure. If you look closely at a healthy flight feather, the veins should be smooth and intact, with all the tiny barbs zipping together properly. Damaged or poor quality feathers often have barbs that don't zip together, creating gaps in the vein. Fourth, color intensity. While genetics determine base color, feather health affects how vibrant that color appears. Healthy feathers show richer, more saturated colors. Dull, stressed feathers look faded even if the pigmentation is present. Fifth, reduce stress bars. When a bird is stressed or malnourished during feather growth, it creates visible horizontal lines or bars across the feather. These are permanent in that feather. Adequate nutrition, including omega-3, reduces the occurrence of stress bars in new feathers. Sixth, faster, smoother molting. Birds with adequate omega-3 tend to molt more quickly and evenly, replacing old feathers efficiently without prolonged gaps or uneven patches. Now let's talk about how to actually use flaxseed for your pigeons. There are several methods, and the one you choose depends on your specific situation and what's practical for you. But before we get to methods, let me address a critical point about flaxseed preparation. Whole flax seeds are small and have a very hard outer shell. If you feed whole flax seeds to pigeons, many will pass through the digestive system completely undigested. The bird gets minimal benefit because the nutrients are locked inside that hard shell. For maximum benefit, flaxseed needs to be either ground into meal or soaked until soft enough that the digestive system can break it down. This is important, so let me repeat it. Whole dry flaxseed is largely wasted. You must grind it or soak it. Method 1 is ground flaxseed meal. This is the most common and probably most effective method. Purchase whole flax seeds, either brown or golden. Both have similar nutritional profiles. Store the whole seeds in a cool, dry place. They keep well for months when whole. When you're ready to use them, grind a small amount in a coffee grinder or spice grinder dedicated to this purpose. You want to create a coarse meal, not a fine powder. Fine powder can be dusty and may oxidize more quickly. Grind only what you'll use within a week or two, because once flaxseed is ground, the omega-3 oils are exposed to air and begin to oxidize. Oxidized oils are not only less beneficial, they can potentially be harmful. Store ground flaxseed in an airtight container in the refrigerator to slow oxidation. To use ground flaxseed, mix it directly into your pigeon feed. The usual dose is approximately 1 teaspoon of ground flaxseed per pigeon per day. Since a teaspoon of ground flaxseed weighs about 4 grams, this means roughly 4 grams per bird per day. For a small flock, you can weigh out the appropriate amount and mix it with the daily ration. For larger flocks, Calculate based on the total number of birds. You can mix the ground flaxseed with slightly dampened feed so it sticks to the seeds rather than settling to the bottom of the feeder. Some keepers lightly spray feed with water, add the ground flaxseed, mix thoroughly, and feed immediately. Method 2 is soaked whole flaxseed. Some keepers prefer this because you can buy whole seeds in bulk, which are more stable than ground meal, and soak small batches as needed. To use this method, measure out whole flax seeds, approximately half a teaspoon of whole seeds per bird per day. Place the seeds in a container and add roughly 3 times their volume in water. Let them soak for at least 4 hours, or overnight. You'll notice the water becomes thick and gel-like. This gel is the mucilage from the seed coat. It's not harmful and actually has some soothing properties for the digestive tract. After soaking, the seeds will be swollen and soft. You can feed these soaked seeds by mixing them into regular feed or mixing with other moist foods. Some pigeons love the texture of soaked seeds. Others are less enthusiastic, in which case mixing thoroughly with their regular feed helps. Method 3 is cold-pressed flaxseed oil. Flaxseed oil is the most concentrated form of omega-3, since the oil has been extracted and you're getting pure fat without the fiber and protein of the whole seed. This can be useful in some situations, but there are considerations. First, flaxseed oil is highly prone to oxidation. It must be cold-pressed, never heat-processed, and must be stored in a dark bottle in the refrigerator. It has a short shelf life once opened, usually about 6 to 8 weeks, even with proper storage. Oxidized flaxseed oil tastes and smells bad and can be harmful. Second, flaxseed oil is very concentrated. A little goes a long way. Third, pure oil without the bulk of the seed can cause loose droppings if overdosed. If using flaxseed oil, the dose is approximately 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon per pigeon per day mixed into feed. Given these considerations, most pigeon keepers find ground or soaked seeds more practical and economical than oil. But oil can be useful for birds that are ill and not eating well, where you can give a few drops directly by mouth to ensure they receive omega-3 during recovery. Method 4 is sprouted flaxseed. Some keepers sprout flax seeds along with other seeds and grains as part of a sprouting mix. Sprouting increases the bioavailability of nutrients and adds vitamins. Flaxseed can be sprouted, though it becomes very mucilaginous and gel-like, which some birds love and others don't. If sprouting flax, do so in small quantities mixed with other seeds like wheat, barley, or mung beans. The other seeds will sprout more vigorously while the flax adds omega-3 and creates an interesting texture. Now let's discuss dosage more specifically based on bird size, age, and purpose. For standard adult pigeons weighing approximately 350 to 500 grams, which includes most racing homers, show breeds of average size, and common backyard pigeons, the dose is about 1 teaspoon of ground flaxseed per bird per day, or 1/2 teaspoon of whole flaxseed if soaking. This provides roughly 1 to 1.5 grams of omega-3 fatty acid per day, which is a beneficial supplemental amount. For large breeds like giant runts, king pigeons, or large exhibition breeds weighing 600 to 800 grams or more, you can increase to 1.5 teaspoons of ground flaxseed per bird per day. For small breeds like diamond doves or very small fancy pigeons, reduce to about 1/2 teaspoon of ground flaxseed per day. For young birds from weaning to about 4 months of age, give approximately half the adult dose. Their smaller body size requires less, but their rapid growth means they benefit greatly from omega-3 supplementation. For squabs still being fed by parents, don't give flax directly to the babies. Instead, supplement the parents, and the omega-3 will be passed to the squabs through crop milk. Timing of supplementation depends on your goals. For general feather health maintenance, flaxseed can be given year-round as part of the regular diet. Many keepers who do this report overall better feather condition, healthier-looking birds, and better performance. For targeted molt support, increase flaxseed supplementation during molting season. Most pigeons undergo a major molt once a year, typically in late summer and autumn, though timing varies by breed, climate, and breeding schedule. Starting a few weeks before expected molt and continuing throughout the molt period provides the building blocks for high-quality new feathers. For young bird development, supplement young birds from weaning through their first full molt to support the development of their adult plumage. For breeding pairs, supplement breeding birds before and during breeding season. Good omega-3 intake supports overall health, fertility, and egg quality, and ensures any chicks receive good nutrition from the start. For racing pigeons, many fanciers supplement year-round, but increase during heavy training and racing season, and especially during molt to support the physical demands and featherwear of racing. What results should you realistically expect, and what timeline? As I mentioned earlier, you cannot repair feathers that are already fully grown and damaged. Flaxseed works by improving new feather growth, so the timeline for visible results depends on the molting schedule. If you start supplementing flaxseed and a bird immediately begins molting, you may see improved feather quality in the new feathers within 2 to 4 weeks as those new feathers grow in. The full effect becomes apparent over 2 to 3 months as more feathers are replaced. If you start supplementing outside of molt, you might not see dramatic visible changes in the feathers themselves for several months until the next molt. However, you may notice other improvements earlier, such as improved sheen from better preening oil production, better overall health and energy, and improved skin condition around the vent and under the wings. Let me describe some specific observations of what improved feather quality from flaxseed supplementation looks like. In racing pigeons, flight feathers become noticeably stronger with less breakage at the tips and edges. This is important because even small damage to flight feathers affects aerodynamics. Birds maintain better feather condition throughout the racing season. After races, when feathers are examined, there's less wear and tear compared to birds not receiving omega-3 supplementation. In show pigeons, particularly breeds where feather quality is judged, consistent flaxseed supplementation produces richer color, better shine, smoother feather texture, and overall more impressive plumage. This can make the difference in competitive showing. In fancy breeds with specialized feathering like frills, muffs, or crests, the specialized feathers grow more fully and maintain structure better. In young birds developing their adult plumage, supplementation results in stronger first-generation adult feathers with fewer stress bars and better color. These birds often look more mature and finished earlier. In older birds, which sometimes struggle with molt and feather quality as they age, flaxseed helps maintain better feather condition and supports more efficient molting, even in senior birds. Beyond just feather appearance, flaxseed supplementation has other health benefits worth mentioning. Omega-3 fatty acids have anti-inflammatory properties throughout the body. This can help with joint health, particularly in older birds or heavily raced birds that may develop arthritis. It supports cardiovascular health, which is obviously important for racing pigeons. It supports immune function, helping birds resist disease. It supports reproductive health in breeding birds. It promotes healthy skin, reducing problems like dry, flaky skin. The lignin compounds in flaxseed have antioxidant properties that protect cells from damage. Some research suggests lignans may have antimicrobial and antifungal properties. While we're focusing on feather health in this video, it's worth knowing that flaxseed provides broader health benefits. Now let's talk about important considerations and potential issues. First, quality and freshness matter significantly. Flaxseed that's old, rancid, or poorly stored will not provide benefits and may cause problems. Purchase flaxseed from reliable sources that have good turnover. Smell the seeds. They should have a mild, slightly nutty smell, not a strong, bitter, or paint-like smell, which indicates rancidity. Store whole flax seeds in a cool, dry place or in the refrigerator for longest shelf life. Grind small batches and store ground meal in the refrigerator in an airtight container, using within 2 weeks. If using flaxseed oil, buy only cold-pressed oil in a dark bottle. Keep refrigerated and use within 6 to 8 weeks of opening. Discard any oil that smells or tastes bad. Second, flaxseed is high in fiber and contains mucilage. In appropriate amounts, this is fine and actually beneficial for digestive health. But overfeeding can cause loose droppings. Stick to recommended amounts. More is not better. Third, flaxseed contains small amounts of compounds called cyanogenic glycosides, which can release cyanide when digested in large amounts. However, the amounts in flaxseed are very small and are not harmful at recommended feeding levels. Cooking or grinding flaxseed further reduces these compounds. There has never been a documented case of cyanide toxicity from flaxseed in birds or other animals at normal dietary levels. Still, this is why you don't feed massive amounts. The recommended doses are safe. Fourth, some sources claim that flaxseed has hormonal effects due to its lignan content. Lignans are phytoestrogens, plant compounds with weak estrogen-like activity. At dietary levels, these effects are very mild and generally considered beneficial, not harmful. However, if you have a hen with a history of reproductive issues or excessive egg laying, you might want to use flaxseed conservatively. Fifth, introduction should be gradual. When adding any new food to a pigeon's diet, introduce it gradually over several days. Start with small amounts and increase to the full dose over about a week. This allows the digestive system to adjust and lets you observe for any individual intolerance, which is rare but possible. Sixth, flaxseed supplements but does not replace a balance-based diet. Your pigeons still need a good quality mix of grains, adequate protein, fresh vegetables or greens, clean water, and appropriate vitamins and minerals. Flaxseed is an addition that optimizes the diet, not a substitute for basic good nutrition. Let me address some common questions. Question 1. Can I use flaxseed for other bird species? Yes, flaxseed is beneficial for essentially all birds. It's commonly used for chickens, ducks, parrots, canaries, finches, and wild birds. The basic benefits are the same across species. Dosage would need to be adjusted based on body size. Question 2. Is golden flax better than brown flax? Nutritionally, they're nearly identical. Golden flax is sometimes preferred for human consumption because it has a milder flavor, but for pigeons, either works equally well. Brown flax is usually slightly less expensive. Question 3. Can I give too much flaxseed? Yes, overfeeding causes loose droppings and can lead to excess calorie intake. Since flaxseed is energy dense, stick to recommended amounts. Question 4. Do I need to give other supplements if I'm using flaxseed? Flaxseed provides omega-3 and additional protein, but doesn't provide all vitamins and minerals. Continue with any other appropriate supplements as needed. Question 5. Will flaxseed make my pigeons fat? At recommended doses, no. Flaxseed is calorie dense, but the amounts recommended, about 4 grams per bird per day, add only about 20 calories to the daily diet. This is a small percentage of a pigeon's daily energy needs. However, if you massively overfeed flaxseed, yes, it could contribute to excess weight. Question 6. Can I give flaxseed to sick birds? Generally, yes. Flaxseed is gentle and well tolerated. The omega-3 may even help recovery by supporting immune function and reducing inflammation. However, if a bird has specific digestive issues like severe diarrhea, hold off on fiber-rich foods including flaxseed until digestion stabilizes. Question 7. My birds won't eat ground flaxseed. What do I do? Some birds are pickier than others. Try mixing the flax more thoroughly with slightly damp feed so they can't pick around it. Try soaking seeds instead of grinding. Make sure the flaxseed is fresh and not rancid, as birds will refuse bad-tasting food. You can also try mixing flaxseed with something they really love, like a small amount of hemp seed or sunflower seed. Question 8. Is flaxseed oil better than ground seeds? Not necessarily better, just different. Oil is more concentrated omega-3 but lacks the fiber, protein, and lignans of the whole seed. It's also more prone to rancidity and is more expensive. Most keepers find ground or soaked seeds more practical. Question 9. Can I feed whole flax seeds without grinding or soaking? You can, and some birds will crack them, but many seeds will pass through undigested, so you're wasting much of your investment. Grinding or soaking is more efficient. Question 10. How long can I store ground flaxseed? In the refrigerator in an airtight container, about 2 weeks. In the freezer, up to 3 months. At room temperature, only a few days before oxidation becomes a concern. Now I want to discuss how flaxseed fits into comprehensive feather care, because as with any single intervention, flaxseed works best as part of good overall management. Let's talk about all the factors that contribute to feather health. First, basic nutrition is foundational. Before worrying about supplements like flaxseed, make sure the base diet is sound. Pigeons need a varied mix of grains and seeds, including corn, wheat, peas, beans, milo, and other ingredients providing carbohydrates, protein, and basic nutrients. They benefit from fresh greens like lettuce, spinach, chickweed, or grass, providing vitamins and minerals. They need access to grit for proper digestion. They need clean, fresh water at all times. A good quality mineral block or supplement ensures they're getting calcium and trace minerals. Once these basics are in place, adding flaxseed for omega-3 makes sense. Second, protein quality and quantity matter specifically for feathers, since they're made of protein. During molt, protein requirements increase significantly. Many fanciers increase protein content of the diet during molt by adding higher protein seeds like peas and beans, or providing additional protein sources. Flaxseed contributes additional high-quality protein, but it's not enough protein by itself to meet molting needs. Third, specific vitamins are critical for feather health, particularly B vitamins, which are involved in keratin production, vitamin A, which supports skin health and cell differentiation, and vitamin D, which affects calcium metabolism and overall health. Most quality vitamin supplements for pigeons include these vitamins. Fourth, the mineral sulfur is a component of keratin. Sulfur is provided in the amino acid methionine, which is found in protein. Another reason adequate quality protein matters. Fifth, external feather condition is affected by bathing and breeding. Pigeons are fastidious about feather care and spend considerable time breeding. They need the ability to bathe regularly. Providing shallow water for bathing, weather permitting, helps birds maintain clean, healthy plumage. The act of preening distributes oil from the oil gland over the feathers, waterproofing them and maintaining flexibility. Omega-3 from flaxseed supports oil gland health, making preening more effective. Sixth, parasite control affects feathers. External parasites like feather lice, mites, and especially red mites can damage feathers directly and cause stress that affects feather growth. Internal parasites rob nutrients. Regular parasite monitoring and control is part of feather health management. Seventh, stress affects feathers dramatically. Stressed birds produce stress bars in their feathers during the time of stress. They may also show slowed molt, poor feather quality, or excessive preening leading to feather damage. Minimizing stress through good management, adequate space, consistent routines, and security from predators supports better feather development. Eighth, environmental factors matter. Excessively damp conditions can promote feather fungus and poor feather quality. Excessively dry conditions can lead to brittle feathers. Adequate ventilation without drafts, reasonable humidity, cleanliness, and appropriate lighting all contribute to good feather health. When you combine all these factors, providing excellent base nutrition, appropriate protein especially during molt, vitamins and minerals, omega-3 from flaxseed, good husbandry, low stress, and proper environment, you create optimal conditions for outstanding feather quality. Flaxseed is one important piece, but it works best within this larger picture. Let me walk through some specific scenarios to illustrate practical flaxseed use. Scenario 1. Racing pigeon fancier wants to improve feather strength and reduce breakage during racing season. Protocol: begin flaxseed supplementation about 6 to 8 weeks before racing season begins. Use 1 teaspoon of ground flaxseed per bird per day mixed with feed. Continue throughout the racing season. Observe flight feathers after races. Over the season, you should notice less tip and edge damage compared to previous seasons. After racing season ends and molt begins, continue the flaxseed through molt to support growth of high-quality replacement feathers. Scenario 2. Show pigeon breeder wants to maximize feather quality for exhibition. Protocol: supplement breeding pairs year-round with half a teaspoon ground flaxseed per bird per day to support overall health and ensure good nutrition is passed to offspring. When chicks wean, begin supplementing them with 1/4 teaspoon per day, increasing to 1/2 teaspoon by 3 months of age. Continue through their first molt. As adult feathers come in, they should show excellent quality. Before a show, ensure birds have been on flaxseed for at least the previous molt cycle so their current plumage benefited from the supplementation. Scenario 3. Backyard pigeon keeper notices dull, rough-looking feathers on several birds. First, rule out parasites by checking for mites, lice, and doing a fecal test for internal parasites. Ensure basic diet is adequate. Then begin flaxseed supplementation. 1 teaspoon ground flaxseed per bird per day. If molt season, results should be visible within a month or 2 as new feathers come in. If outside molt season, you may notice improved sheen within a few weeks, with major improvement visible at next molt. Scenario 4. Young bird fancier wants to support optimal feather development in young racers. Protocol: begin supplementing young birds as soon as they're eating independently, about 4 to 5 weeks of age. Use 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon ground flaxseed per bird per day depending on size. Continue through their first molt and first season of training. These birds should develop stronger flight feathers that withstand training better. Scenario 5. Pigeon keeper has older breeding birds with poor feather quality. Older birds sometimes struggle with molt and feather condition. Begin flaxseed supplementation several weeks before expected molt. Use 1 teaspoon per bird per day. Be patient as older birds may take longer to show improvement. After 1 complete molt cycle on supplementation, feather quality should improve noticeably, though it may not reach the quality of young birds in their prime. Let's talk about combining flaxseed with other natural supplements for even better results. Flaxseed can be combined with hemp seed, which is another excellent source of omega-3 and omega-6 in good ratio, plus high-quality protein. A mix of 50% ground flaxseed and 50% crushed hemp seed makes an excellent feather supplement. Flaxseed can be combined with brewer's yeast, which is rich in B vitamins essential for feather production. You could make a mix of 2 parts ground flaxseed to 1 part brewer's yeast. Flaxseed can be combined with spirulina or chlorella, which are algae that provide protein, vitamins, minerals, and pigments that can enhance feather color. Flaxseed can be combined with black seed, also called nigella or black cumin, which has immune-supporting and anti-inflammatory properties. These combinations create comprehensive natural supplements that address multiple aspects of feather and overall health. Now let's discuss the science behind omega-3 and feather health in more depth, for those interested in understanding the mechanisms. Feathers grow from follicles in the skin. Each follicle contains rapidly dividing cells that differentiate into the various structures of the feather. This process requires enormous metabolic energy and resources. The cells producing keratin need adequate amino acids, the building blocks of protein. They need cellular energy in the form of ATP, produced through metabolic process requiring B vitamins. They need proper cell membrane function, which depends on fatty acids including omega-3. At the cellular level, omega-3 fatty acids, specifically alpha-linolenic acid from flax and its derivatives, EPA and DPA, are incorporated into cell membranes throughout the body, including in feather follicle cells. These fatty acids affect membrane fluidity, meaning how flexible and functional the membrane is. Proper membrane function affects how well the cell can take in nutrients, export waste, and respond to signals. It affects the function of membrane-embedded proteins that do crucial cellular work. Better cell membrane function means better overall cell health and function, which translates to better keratin production. Omega-3 fatty acids also significantly affect inflammation. They're precursors to compounds called resolvins and protectins, which help resolve inflammation and promote healing. In contrast, excessive omega-6 fatty acids are precursors to pro-inflammatory compounds. The balance between omega-3 and omega-6 in the diet affects the inflammatory state of the body. For feather follicles, reduced inflammation means healthier follicles that produce better feathers. For skin, reduced inflammation means healthier skin that supports better feather growth. For the overall bird, reduced systemic inflammation means better health, which always reflects in plumage quality. Omega-3 fatty acids also affect the production and quality of sebum, the oily substance produced by the uropygial gland, also called the oil gland or Pigeon gland, located at the base of the tail. Pigeons spread this oil over their feathers during preening. This oil waterproofs feathers, maintains flexibility, and provides some antimicrobial protection. The composition of this oil is affected by dietary fats. Adequate omega-3 in the diet produces higher quality preening oil, which improves feather condition, shine, and protection. Additionally, omega-3 fatty acids affect gene expression. They can turn genes on or off, or modify their expression levels. Some of the genes they affect are involved in inflammation, immune function, and metabolic processes that relate to feather growth. This is a more complex level of influence, but ultimately contributes to better feather health. Research in other bird species supports omega-3 supplementation for feather health. Studies in chickens have shown that omega-3 supplementation improves feather coverage, reduces feather pecking damage, and enhances plumage quality. Studies in parrots have shown improved feather condition with omega-3 supplementation, particularly in birds with feather-destructive behaviors. While specific research in pigeons is limited, the biological mechanisms are the same across bird species, and the practical observations of pigeon fanciers worldwide support the benefits of flaxseed for feather health. Let me share some observations from the pigeon fancy community. I'm not presenting these as scientific proof, but as empirical observations that many fanciers have reported over years of flaxseed use. Racing fanciers who supplement flaxseed consistently report birds maintain better feather condition through the racing season, with less breakage and less frequent need to pull damaged feathers. They report faster recovery after hard races, and many attribute this partially to the anti-inflammatory effects of omega-3. Show fanciers, particularly those exhibiting breeds where feather quality is critical, like Modenas, swallows, or fantails, often use flaxseed as part of their conditioning program and report it makes a visible difference in feather sheen and quality. Breeders supplementing breeding pairs report healthier, more vigorous young birds, which they attribute to better nutrition passed through the